Hi there and welcome back to my channel. This is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing Raven Black, written by Ann Cleeves. It's a crime mystery. It is the first book in a series. The series is called the Shetland Islands series. It's one of the 12 books that were chosen for me at the start of this year to read this year. And all those books were the first book in a series. So with this book I enjoyed it, so now I have another series to read. I like this book. I like the setting. It's atmospheric. The idea of setting this in the Shetland Islands, where you have small close-knit communities. We have a number of islands where sometimes the only way to get between the islands is by ferry. We have crimes that can happen in isolation. We have a landscape that's just a bit rugged or a bit extreme in weather, that sort of thing. All those things adding atmosphere to the book. So I enjoy that part of it a lot. This book is very character driven. It seems more about the characters than the mystery itself. Even though the mystery is important in the story, the characters really drive the narrative a lot. I enjoy this book very much. I can't wait to read more in this series as well. This book starts out in an interesting way. It doesn't start out with the crime itself. It introduces certain characters, introduces the setting very well, the landscape very well. So immediately we understand that people are very isolated. Some houses kind of stand alone. We understand there are characters who aren't trusted that much, who could be suspicious for different reasons, or people think they're suspicious for different reasons. We have characters as well, teenage characters introduced. And it feels like they live in this environment, they live in this setting, and they don't really enjoy it. It feels like they want to escape. We have other characters who have come to the setting, come to the community to escape other things. We have other characters that almost like local royalty as well. We have all these things kind of being introduced and playing out at the start of the story. And then the crime happens, and the crime happens on New Year's Day, or the body's found on New Year's Day. And the body's found by a character called Fran. And Fran ends up playing a very important role in this story. And I like her as a character. She's introduced very well, a great character. And I just like the way characters are introduced and they're developed and they play out in this book overall. All the characters feel real. All the characters feel very consistent. And all the characters match who they are in the story. They are written to be who they're meant to be. The teenage characters feel like teenagers. The adult characters feel like adults. They all feel consistent. They've all got great personalities. They're all unique in their personalities and their makeup. So I just like the way all the characters are written in this story. So the victim in this book, the body that's discovered, is a teenage girl. And in this small community, that just sends shockwaves through all the people, because this small community should be safe. Crime should happen in bigger cities, bigger areas, not in this small community that's very isolated. So a crime like this is very big in a setting like this. And it plays out in a very big way. So immediately we have somebody under suspicion. Not because they could be the culprit, but because people think they're strange. And people think that they were responsible for something else that happened in the past. So in this book we have the current crime, and then we have this cold case mystery of a missing girl, and nobody knows what happened to her. And people in this community always blamed this one guy who acts quite strange sometimes, and people don't trust him. And there are reasons for that which I won't go into in this video, but I think he's a great character. He's written so well. He's written with such care. He's written with such compassion, and I just like him as a character in this story a lot. You can understand why people mistrust him in certain ways in the book, but he just feels like a victim of circumstance. It feels like a victim of suspicion. He feels like one of those characters in a small town setting that people mistrust just because. So you feel compassion for this character. And that's one of the things in this book I think the author does very well. We have characters that we can feel different emotions for at different times. We have characters that are unlikable sometimes, but we can have compassion for them, understanding for them other times. Very difficult to do that, I think, with characters, to really make the reader feel strong emotions for characters in a story. We also have characters that feel so real and consistent when they change in the book as well. The author uses that small community setting in the story very well. So we have, things in a small community seem larger, they're amplified. That happens in this book with the murder. We also have undercurrents, so like political and societal undercurrents in this small community. We have people who are treated like royalty. Their family's been there for generations, and they're kind of revered on the islands. We have other characters that have been there for a shorter time that aren't trusted as well as people have been there, where their families have been there for those generations. All this plays out even in the police force itself. So our main character, our protagonist, Jimmy Perez, he's the main investigator in this crime. But he brings in investigators from the outside as well to help, because it's a big crime, and it's a crime that's not investigated very often by the police force on the Shetland Islands. And it just feels like that in that structure of the police force, we have political and societal undercurrents in that small group. That plays out in this story. We even have police officers that are quick to judge, just like people in the community. They have suspicions, almost superstitions as well, and they're not shy about letting those things known. So we have tension in those investigative characters because of it. That all plays out in the story. There's many layers, many undercurrents throughout this whole book, but they all link cleverly to the main investigation and that cold case. And it feels like that investigation and the cold case at times are the same thing. People tie them together so often in this story. You understand why when you read this, but it feels like in a way that someone should be there forcing those things apart, treating them separately. And Jimmy Perez, the main investigator, the protagonist, tries to do that, but sometimes he can't help himself and he combines them together. So he has this conflict, this internal conflict, where he's trying to be understanding and keep things separate, trying to give people benefit of the doubt about the past and the present. But even he sometimes fails to do that, and makes him complex and complete as a character because he's got flaws. He understands those flaws, and you witness those flaws and his thoughts about them in the way he internalizes his own feelings and thoughts in the book, his introspection. So I like that in the book, and it just makes him so complete as a character and showcases again how cleverly this author can write characters in a mystery. There are twists in this book, there are twists and turns. Even though the book's very character driven, even though it's slow burn, there are twists and turns, and it changes the course of the narrative in a slight way. They're not all surprising. Some have big lead-ins to those twists, but they're all very well written, well timed, and they all make sense. They don't burst from the page, not explosive twists, but you don't need that in a book like this. And if you had those twists as being explosive, it wouldn't match the whole tone of the book, wouldn't match the setting and the atmosphere. Everything's cleverly chosen by the author with this book, cleverly well done. And you can see why many people enjoy this book a lot and they want to read the rest of the series, and I do as well, because this book is very captivating and compelling. In a way, I think some people may see this book as being slightly depressive, and you can understand that because the landscape is just, it's very cold, it's almost dark in a way. It feels barren in a way sometimes as well. But the people in the story make the landscape come alive. I think the people in the book, because they're written so well, they feel so real, they make everything in this book come alive so much. Jimmy is our protagonist in the story, and I like the way he's written. He's very complex, he's complete, he has flaws, he has doubts, he's got strengths and weaknesses, he understands everything about himself, he's very self-aware, and makes him feel real in the book. I like the way he goes about investigating because he's more of a thinker. There's not many mysteries that I've read anyway where the protagonist is more of a thinker than a doer, like an action character. I think many modern mysteries has a protagonist just jumping into danger and action all the time. This character doesn't do that. He's methodical, he's clever. Sometimes he makes the book almost feel like a police procedural, and it does in some ways, but it's a slow burn mystery, I think, more than police procedural because it's more character driven than police procedural driven. But in my view, this character is written very well, a perfect character. Fran is important in this book. She's important because she's the one that finds the body, but also she's important because of just her character in the book, the way she plays out. She's included in so many scenes in the story. And like with her, we have complexity. She's a character that tries to not give in to rumour and gossip, but sometimes she does. And that creates conflict in her as a character, and you see that quite clearly. And I think because of that, we're kind of engaged with her more in the story, because it feels real. Because real people in real life are tempted, I think, to listen to gossip and rumours, and they're tempted to give into those things sometimes. And sometimes people struggle not to. I think with her, we have a real person in this book. It's a person in a setting, and just the way she's written makes everything else in this book seems more real because of that. Ewan is father of the victim, in the present crime anyway. He's a good character in this story, written so well. And through him, we just feel everything so clearly and so strongly in the book, what he's going through with the death of his daughter. It's so powerful, it just drags you in. And with him, we have the whole gamut of emotions and changes with the events like that. And it all feels real, it's all understandable, it's all consistent. And I just think he's cleverly written, very carefully written, with great compassion as well. A great choice of character, and a great way to write this character. I enjoyed this book a lot. It is the first book in a series, so I have to read the rest of the series now. It is one of the 12 books chosen for me to read at the start of this year. And I think out of all those books I've read so far, I've enjoyed most of them a lot. I rate this a 4 out of 5. The atmosphere is perfect, the characters, the setting, the mystery, all done so well and so cleverly in this story. I enjoyed it a lot, and I can't wait to see how this series plays out in future books. On my channel, I review many mysteries. If you enjoy mysteries, check out my channel and subscribe. On the screen now is a link to another video for a book I'm sure you'll enjoy.